My beloved child, come closer, for the Spirit is stirring even as you breathe right now. The air around you is not ordinary today. Heaven hath been whispering, calling, shaking, and moving in ways that even the oldest angels have not seen for many generations. And I speak to you not as a stranger, but as a father in the house of God, one who longs for your soul to receive what hath been hidden from the eyes of many. Listen carefully, for what I am about to share is not something that belongs to the noise of the world. This is a word born from the heart of heaven itself. Last night, yes, last night, while you were unaware, something happened in the realms above you. Something so mighty, so startling, so unexpected that even the archangels, those warriors who have seen the rise and fall of ages, stood in a silence that felt like thunder wrapped in stillness. Their wings trembled. Their voices halted. Their lights flickered with awe. My child, do you understand the weight of this? These are beings who stood with Michael in battles that shaped nations. These are beings who witnessed Lucifer's fall. These are beings who saw the foundations of the earth being laid, and yet last night shook them. Imagine for a moment the sound of heaven gasping. Imagine the chorus of angels falling silent all at once. Imagine the great halls of glory becoming still, as though every living thing froze to listen to a single divine announcement. That is the atmosphere I am inviting you into right now, because heaven has been watching you. Not casually, not distantly, but intentionally, urgently, lovingly. And child, while the archangels stood in shock, there was one name whispered in that holy chamber. It was yours. You may think you are ordinary. You may think you are unseen. You may think you are forgotten. But heaven does not make mistakes when it speaks a name into eternity. And last night, when the great shift happened, when the heavens trembled and the angels' wings paused mid-flight, God turned his gaze toward you. A message was sealed. A divine moment was appointed. And now, heaven is waiting for you to open your heart, to hear what was spoken before the throne. But here is the mystery, one that will unfold in the moments ahead. Everyone else in the heavens already knows. The angels know. The archangels know. Creation itself knows. Only you, my beloved child, still remain unaware of what happened last night. But live because God says this is the hour, yes, your hour to finally hear the whole truth that was written in light. This is your moment before the appointed time strikes, before the heavenly alignment reaches 9 p.m., whatever that time means in the spirit, whatever doorway it opens, whatever shift it unlocks. You are being called to listen. So breathe, be still, and let your heart prepare. Heaven is waiting to speak. My beloved child, come close again, for the Spirit is not finished speaking. What we began to unfold is only the doorway, not the destination. I feel the weight of heaven still pressing upon this moment, urging you to listen with the ears of your spirit. For now we step deeper into what the archangels witnessed, deeper into why they stood in awe, deeper into the tremor that passed through the heavens like a wave of living fire. Last night was not an event of chance. It was not a passing whisper. It was a shaking that echoed across realms. When the archangels reacted, it was not because they were fearful, for fear has no place in those who stand continually in the presence of God. Their shock came from the sheer magnitude, the unexpected nature of what God unveiled. These mighty beings, clothed in light, guardians of nations, watchers of destinies, suddenly halted all movement. They fixed their gaze on a single burst of divine activity that appeared like lightning but carried the gentleness of a breath. They watched as heaven shifted its position, as though the throne itself leaned forward. My child, let me tell you what the air felt like in that realm. It felt as though the very atmosphere had been parted. It felt like time itself bent to make room for something holy. The golden floors beneath the angels reflected a new glow, not the usual brilliance of glory, but something deeper, richer, like a color that had never been seen since the beginning. And in that glow, the Archangels sensed a revelation forming. They sensed God preparing to release something he had held close to his heart. I saw Michael stand taller, his sword lowered, not in surrender but in reverence. Gabriel's wings folded with care, as though afraid to disturb the moment. Even Raphael, gentle and full of healing presence, paused his movement through the rivers of God. For them to still themselves was a sign of something greater than angelic duty or heavenly routine. It meant heaven itself was about to express a truth that only a chosen heart could receive. And my beloved child, that chosen heart is yours. Only you still do not know what happened, and yet everything that happened revolves around you. Think of this. The heavens have already reacted, responded, and realigned, and you are only now being invited into the knowledge that stirred them. This is not because you were forgotten. No, it is because God chose to reveal it to you at the exact moment he knew your spirit would be ready. The Archangels stood in shock because God did something unusual. He moved for you before revealing it to you. He shifted destinies before informing the one whose destiny was being touched. You may wonder why such secrecy? Why such suspense? Why would heaven wait for this hour? Child, sometimes God hides things not to keep them from you, but to preserve the perfect timing for your awakening. Last night, the heavens saw something unfold around your life that is no longer in the realm of possibility. It is now in the realm of certainty. The angels, who have watched humanity for thousands of years, recognized the significance instantly. But God did not allow the message to be released until now, because the revelation's power is tied to timing, and that timing is this very moment. The Archangel's shock was not rooted in confusion, but in wonder. They saw a thread of divine intention wrap itself around your name. They saw a decree written over your life, sealed with authority. They witnessed God shift something in the spirit concerning you with such finality that even they, who watch over nations and kingdoms, had to stand still. Heaven marvels when God moves in a way that reshapes a person's destiny so suddenly, so completely, that the ripple touches every realm at once. And child, when heaven ripples, nothing remains unchanged. You have been living in what you thought was a normal stretch of time, but last night altered everything. The Archangels saw it. They were shocked by the magnitude. But you, precious one, you have been walking today unaware of the glory that was announced over your life before the sunrise. Now heaven is urging you to catch up. Now the Spirit is pulling you into alignment, drawing you closer to the revelation you were meant to carry. Do you know why only you did not know? Because the story God wrote concerning you is being unveiled step by step, like a scroll that cannot be opened all at once. If he revealed it too early, you might have turned away out of fear or disbelief. But now, at this hour, your heart is ready to hear. You are ready to understand why heaven reacted the way it did. So listen, my beloved child, what happened last night is not merely a spiritual event. It is the beginning of a new chapter in your journey with God. A chapter that even the Archangels paused to witness. A chapter that has already been written in the throne room. A chapter that now seeks to reveal itself to you fully. And we will go deeper. Much deeper. My beloved child, lean in once more, for the veil is thinning, and the Spirit is drawing us into the very heart of the mystery heaven kept hidden until this moment. You have stepped into a sacred unfolding, a revelation that was preserved not for crowds, not for nations, not even for prophets of old, but specifically for you. This is why, though the archangels trembled in wonder and all of heaven responded to what occurred last night, only you remained unaware. Not because you were forgotten, but because God Himself desired to reveal it to you directly, personally, intimately in this very hour. There is something powerful in being the last to know, my child. The last often becomes the most honored when God chooses the order. The Father delights in unveiling His deepest secrets in the quiet moments when a single heart is listening. And today, that listening heart is yours. Heaven waited until your spirit was still enough, desperate enough, hungry enough to receive a truth that has the power to reshape everything you believe about your purpose. Let me take you back to what I witnessed in the Spirit. After the archangels recovered from the initial shock of the heavenly movement, something extraordinary happened. A scroll appeared in the throne room, not carried by any angelic messenger but emerging from the very glory of God Himself. It was sealed with a mark that only the hand of the Almighty could place. Round it, light swirled like living wind, and the angels leaned forward, knowing such a scroll was rare, reserved only for matters of destiny, matters of alignment, matters that echo across generations. But the scroll was not opened. Not by Gabriel, not by Michael, not by any of the elders. It remained closed, hovering in the brilliance before the throne. And the angels began to whisper among themselves in reverent tones, "Who is this for? What is being unveiled? Which name is written within?" My child, the name written inside that scroll was yours. You see, heaven knew. The angels knew. The archangels knew. All creation sensed a shift when your name was spoken in the courts of glory. But you, beloved one, you walked through the morning unaware, carrying the weight of yesterday's worries, unable to see the miracle that had already unfolded behind the scenes. And yet, this was exactly how God intended it. For when divine revelation comes, it comes not as information but as transformation. It comes as a sudden awakening, a moment when your heart catches up with the heavenly reality that has already been established. You may not realize it, but God has been preparing your spirit for this very hour. The delays, the battles, the silent seasons, the unanswered prayers, the moments where you questioned your worth, the nights you cried alone, they were shaping the soil of your soul so that when this revelation arrived, you would be able to receive it, hold it, and walk in it with strength. Heaven waited because the revelation carries weight. It is not merely a message, it is a mantle. It is not merely information, it is an impartation. Only those whose hearts have been refined by struggle can carry such a mantle without dropping it. And child, whether you feel ready or not, God has deemed you ready. That is why the archangels were stunned, because the one whom heaven is elevating now is someone the world did not expect. Someone who has walked through quiet pain, unseen battles, hidden growth. Someone heaven has watched closely even when you felt invisible. This is the mystery God hid until this moment. Last night was not simply a spiritual event. It was a divine announcement over your life. A shift in your spiritual identity. Unlocking of something that has been waiting behind the scenes for years. Heaven saw it instantly, but God reserved the unveiling for you alone, in this private, holy moment. Do you understand what that means, my child? You are not stepping into something ordinary. You are stepping into a revelation that caused the archangels to pause, a truth that carries the weight of divine intention. You are standing at the threshold of a new chapter written by the hand of God Himself. And as we continue, the chapter will unfold before you piece by piece, like a sunrise revealing the landscape beneath it. But hear me, nothing about this is accidental. Nothing about this is random. Heaven had been orchestrating this revelation with precision. And now, only now, your heart is being brought into the same alignment heaven reached last night. My beloved child, return to this sacred moment with a calm spirit, for now we step into the heart of what truly happened last night, the event that sent waves through the heavens and caused even the ancient archangels to stand breathless. What I am about to unveil is not meant to frighten you, nor to overwhelm you, but to open your eyes to the reality that your life is far more significant than you have ever believed. Last night was not just a shift in the spirit. It was a divine announcement, a heavenly declaration that involved your future, your calling, and the very reason you were placed on this earth. As I looked into the vision, I saw the heavens stretching wide, expanding as though making room for something new. Light moved like rivers of molten gold, flowing in patterns I had never seen before, patterns that danced with meaning. There was movement among the ranks of angels. They flew not in their usual order, but in a formation that signaled preparation. Preparation for release. Preparation for a concision. Preparation for a destiny unfolding. And then, my child, the throne of God glowed with a brilliance that made the angels shield their faces. A sound emerged, not thunder, not wind, but something living, pulsing, breathing. The sound of a decree being formed. This was no ordinary night in the heavenly realm. This was the night when heaven addressed your name with authority. The moment when the destiny written for you since the foundation of the world was activated. I saw the hand of God raise, and the very atmosphere reacted. His gesture was simple, yet the power behind it was beyond comprehension. When his hand moved, galaxies bowed. When his voice whispered, eternity shifted. And in that whisper, your life was mentioned. Not casually, not as an afterthought, but with intention, like a master artist touching the final stroke of a masterpiece. Understand this, my beloved child. Heaven does not gather itself in such sacred assembly for ordinary moments. Heaven does not tremble for something small. The angels do not stand still unless the matter is weighty. What happened last night was weighty. It was glorious. It was personal. In that moment, a barrier around your life, one that had lingered for years, one that had resisted your prayers, one that had held back opportunities, clarity, and breakthrough, was shattered. Not gradually, not little by little. It broke instantly, violently, permanently. The sound of it breaking echoed through the spiritual realm like the shattering of ancient chains. This is what caused the archangels to pause. They recognized the sound. It was the sound of release. The sound of a life being repositioned. The sound of heaven's timing being activated. But the event was not complete. As the barrier shattered, something else was revealed. Behind what had been restricting you was a path that had been hidden from your eyes but was always known in heaven. A path lined with divine appointments, relationships, breakthroughs, and blessings that had been preserved for the right moment. The angels saw it. They recognized the significance instantly. They understood that your season of delay had ended. They knew that the moment the barrier fell, your destiny began moving again, like a river unblocked, rushing forward with renewed force. My child, what happened last night was not a small adjustment. It was a spiritual earthquake. It was the resetting of your story. It was God saying, enough. Enough delay. Enough confusion. Enough wondering. Enough silence. Last night God declared movement over your life. He declared clarity. He declared breakthrough. And heaven responded. This is why the archangels were in total shock. Not because they doubted God, but because they witnessed a moment that carries eternal significance for your life. They saw the shift before you felt it. They saw the victory before you walked in it. They saw the breakthrough before you even became aware that something had changed. And now, beloved one, this truth is being brought to you. You are being invited into what heaven celebrated last night. You are being shown the reality that was sealed over your life while you slept, unaware that heaven was fighting for you, aligning things for you, and preparing a fresh chapter with your name etched into its beginning. This is why you are hearing this now. This is why God waited until this very hour to reveal it. Heaven wants you to know the magnitude of what has already begun. You are not stepping into change. You are stepping into fulfillment. The battle is not starting now. It already ended. The shift is not beginning. It already took place. My beloved child, come close once more, for what we are stepping into now carries urgency. There is a weight upon this moment, a stirring that presses against the edges of time itself. As I speak, the echo of last night's heavenly event is still vibrating through the spiritual realm, and God's voice continues to call your name with a tone that carries both tenderness and holy urgency. You must understand that when heaven moves in such force, it is never without purpose. And when God speaks the words hurry, it is never to frighten you but to awaken you. Last night's shift was not only a revelation but a release, and now the timing of heaven rests upon your next steps. I saw in the spirit a clock, not of this world, but a radiant, living clock woven from light. Its hands did not move like earthly time. It pulsed as though each moment carried breath and intention. Round it, angels stood in stillness, watching as the light intensified. On that divine clock, my child, an hour had been marked. A moment of alignment. A window where heaven's movement and your earthly destiny intersected. And written over that moment were the words, hurry. Not haste that comes from panic. Not fear-driven movement. But the kind of urgency that heaven uses when your destiny is ready to unfold and you must not delay your response. God sees what you cannot see yet. He sees the opportunities approaching you. He sees the shifting hearts around you. He sees the doors prepared to open, and he knows that timing is everything. There are some doors you must reach while they are unlocked. There are blessings that must be received when the heavens are open. There are moments when obedience carries the power of transformation. My beloved child, the message God released last night included a divine summons. It was not just the breaking of barriers or the unveiling of your path. It was a call to rise quickly, to awaken, to step forward before the moment passes. Heaven spoke your name with urgency because something has already begun moving toward you, and heaven needs you to be in position to receive it. Let me tell you what I saw next. I saw an angel, tall, radiant, clothed in woven light, descending with haste. His wings cut through the air like blades of gold. His expression carried intensity, not anger but mission. He held something in his hands, something bound in brilliance. And the Spirit revealed to me that what he carried was connected to you. A blessing assigned to your household. A breakthrough assigned to your heart. A shift assigned to your future. But the angel did not land immediately. He hovered, waiting, watching, listening. The Spirit spoke softly. He waits for the human response. Heaven moves, but the earth must agree. God releases, but the heart must open. The blessing is ready, but the vessel must be prepared. This, my child, is why God is saying hurry. Not because time is against you, but because heaven's release is already in motion, and your alignment determines how fully you receive it. The window is not closing out of punishment. It is closing because divine timing is precise, like a ribbon that appears for a moment, offering an opportunity that must be seized. Your name was spoken last night not just in revelation but in commissioning. Heaven has placed a mantle upon you, a call to rise into the truth that was announced before the throne. And yes, it is urgent. Yes, it is time-sensitive. Yes, there is a holy quickness required of you now. But this urgency is a gift. It is God pulling you into the best chapter He has written for you. It is heaven making room for your arrival. It is the Father saying, "My child, do not miss what I designed for you." Before this divine hour strikes fully, heaven desires your agreement, your readiness, your willingness to step forward. And as you walk in this journey with me, as you receive each revelation, let your heart respond with honor. Let your voice carry what your spirit is receiving. Let your steps match the pace of heaven's call. And my beloved one, as you feel the weight of this message, support the mission that delivers it to you. When you lift this voice, when you share this light, when you help this word reach others, you participate in the very move of God unfolding in your life. To like, to share, to amplify this message is not a small gesture. It is a divine act of alignment, a sign to heaven that your heart says yes. My beloved child, return with a steady heart, for now we enter the deep waters of what it means when heaven declares that this is your last chance. These words are not spoken lightly in the Spirit. They are not the warnings of fear, nor the threats of doom, but the solemn sound of a door that has been opened for a long time and is now beginning to close because the moment assigned to it has finally arrived. When heaven speaks of a last opportunity, it speaks from the perspective of destiny, not danger. And tonight, as we move further into this revelation, you must understand the holiness of this moment. In the vision, after, the archangels stood in awe, and after, the angels began preparing the heavenly release connected to your life, something else occurred. A shift in the atmosphere. A turning, like a page being flipped by the wind of God. Light gathered in a circular motion, forming a gateway not of earthly matter, but of pure, living glory. It shimmered with layers, each one representing a season of your life. Your childhood, your broken moments, your victories, your mistakes, your prayers, your silence, your perseverance. Every season formed part of this living gate, and I understood immediately. This was the doorway God had kept open for you through your years of searching, waiting, struggling, and hoping. But last night, something changed. The gate, once wide and patient, began to narrow. Not out of anger, not out of disappointment, but because its purpose was being fulfilled. The season for waiting had reached its end. The season for stepping in had begun. My child, heaven knows when a destiny moment has matured. Heaven knows when the soil of your heart has finished its preparation. Heaven knows when your spirit has endured enough shaping to finally carry what was promised. And when that moment comes, heaven does not whisper casually. It declares with authority. It summons with urgency. It speaks with clarity. This is your last chance to walk into what God has prepared for you. Do not imagine this last chance as a threat. Picture instead a ship ready to leave the harbor. It has waited for you. It has delayed its departure because of you. It has held its anchor because of the prayers God heard from your lips. But now the tide is turning, and the ship cannot remain forever. The winds are shifting. The waters are calling. The journey designed for you is ready to begin, and heaven is urging you to step aboard while the plank is still lowered, while the lantern is still burning, while your name is still echoing across the deck. In this vision, I saw angels standing at this divine gate. Their expressions were serious, not sorrowful. They carried the understanding of what happens when a human soul steps into its appointed moment. They know the ripple effect. They see the generations it touches. They see the battles it ends. They see the blessings it unlocks. They see the people who will be transformed because you made the choice to step forward. They understand the magnitude of what is at stake in moments like these. And my beloved child, your moment has come. This last chance is not a punishment. It is an honor. It means heaven fought long enough for you. It means God extended the window far beyond what others may have received. It means the angels have watched over you through mistakes that could have destroyed your destiny, but did not. It means God, in His mercy, preserved this opportunity for you until the very brink of divine timing. But now the gate narrows, not to scare you, but to signal that it is time. Time to rise. Time to believe. Time to step forward. Time to walk away from the patterns that drained you. Time to silence the doubts that have held you back. Time to accept the mantle heaven placed upon you last night. Time to walk in the calling you have sensed but never fully embraced. In Scripture and in history, last chance moments have always carried power. Noah had a final call before the rain came. Moses had a final moment before the Red Sea parted. Esther had a final decision before she approached the king. Elijah had a final summons before the mantle passed to Elisha. These were not threats. These were invitations into transformation. And child, your moment is no different. God is not closing a door to shut you out. He is closing a door to propel you forward. He is calling you to step out of the familiar and into the extraordinary. He is summoning you into alignment with the shift that began last night. You must hear me with your spirit. You are not late. You are right on time. But the window will not remain open forever, because the destiny waiting on the other side cannot remain stagnant. It is ready. Heaven is ready. God is ready. And now He asks if you are ready. My beloved child, come nearer again, for now we step into the heart of the revelation itself. You have heard of the shock that passed through the Archangels. You have heard of the heavenly shift, the urgency, the narrowing gate. But now we approach the truth hidden behind it all, the truth that even the angels longed to understand as they watched last night unfold. This truth was not whispered to the nations. It was not proclaimed in the courts of kings. It was sealed for you, preserved in the scroll that hovered before the throne, waiting for this hour of unveiling. As I looked deeper into the vision, the scroll that bore your name began to glow, not with brilliance alone, but with meaning. Threads of light wrapped around it like strands of destiny intertwining with one another, forming patterns that shifted as though alive. The archangels watched, their faces solemn, as though they themselves were preparing their spirits to hear the truth it contained. Gabriel stepped forward slightly, recognizing the weight of the moment, for he is the herald of messages, the angel of divine announcements. Michael stood behind him, not in defense but in honor, as though guarding the gravity of what was about to be revealed. Then it happened. The scroll opened on its own, as though touched by the breath of God. The moment it unfurled, a wind moved through the heavens, gentle, yet carrying a strength that could shake mountains. The angels bowed their heads. Light poured from the scroll like water descending from a great height, filling the space with warmth and clarity. And in that light, I saw words. Words written not in ink but in living fire. Words that carried both promise and instruction. Words that connected the shock of last night to a truth heaven wants you to finally understand. My beloved child, the whole truth is this. You have been chosen to step into a calling that has been hovering over your life for years. A calling that was not delayed because you were unworthy, but because the timing had not matured. A calling heaven has guarded fiercely, even during the seasons when you did not know how to guard yourself. The angels were shocked last night because God, in His sovereign power, lifted the veil over your destiny and declared that the time is now. Everything you have survived, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every moment you felt forgotten, was not evidence of God abandoning you, but preparation for the unveiling of this calling. Heaven knew this day would come. Heaven knew your spirit would reach this level of readiness. Heaven knew that once this truth was released, nothing in your life would remain the same. As the scroll remained open, I saw glimpses of your journey. Not in detail, not in predictable scenes, but as waves of purpose flowing outward from your life into the world. I saw people whose lives will change because you answered this calling. I saw doors opening that had been shut for years. I saw restoration touching areas of your life that you assumed were beyond repair. I saw acceleration, a divine quickening, moving through your path as though God Himself were clearing the way before your feet touched the ground. And then, my child, I heard the voice of an archangel. It was Gabriel, his voice soft yet filled with authority, speaking words meant for your spirit. The truth has awaited you. The time has arrived. Step forward, for heaven stands ready to walk with you. But He did not stop there. He spoke again, and this time the words carried a deeper weight. The shock of heaven was not because of the revelation itself, but because of how greatly God intends to use you. Even the angels marveled at the scale of what God planned in secret. My beloved child, imagine this: beings who stand in the presence of God, beings who witnessed creation itself, beings who understand the vastness of eternity, stood in awe at what God is releasing over your life. That is how significant this truth is. That is how powerful your calling truly is. And that is why last night shook the heavens. Destiny that had been dormant awakened. Purpose that had been hidden surfaced. A new chapter of your life was spoken into existence. And now heaven waits for your response. Not out of pressure, not out of obligation, but out of partnership. God did not reveal this truth to overwhelm you. He revealed it to prepare you. He revealed it to strengthen you. He revealed it so you would stop believing you are small when heaven declares you are chosen. He revealed it so you would stop approaching life as though you have no purpose when your name is written in the scroll of destiny. My child, the truth that was hidden behind the angelic shock is that God has set you apart. He has placed something inside you that the world has not yet seen. And last night, He released the fullness of that purpose into motion. The archangels were not shocked because of the calling itself. They knew you had one. They were shocked because the time has finally come. My beloved child, come back into the stillness of this moment, for now we step into the mystery that has stirred so many hearts, the divine meaning of before 9 p.m. Many have wondered why heaven marks certain hours with significance, why God assigns moments that seem ordinary in the natural but hold eternal weight in the spirit. Tonight, as we walk deeper into this revelation, I will take you into what the Spirit allowed me to see, the heavenly appointment tied to this hour, the moment heaven circled long before you were born. When the vision opened again, I saw time, not as humans see it, but as heaven understands it. Time was not a straight line. It was a living river. It moved in curves, in layers, in waves. It shimmered with opportunity, and within its flow were moments that glowed brighter than others. These were divine appointments, moments when heaven draws near to earth, moments when destinies shift, when doors open, when blessings descend, when callings awaken, when prayers glide with answers. One of these glowing moments pulsed with a deep, warm light, and on it was inscribed, "Before 9 p.m." I felt the urge in the Spirit to understand why the hour mattered. And child, what the Spirit revealed was profound. The hour itself is not magical. It is not a superstition. It is a symbol of divine timing, of a window where heaven says, "Be ready, for something is aligning with your life." Before 9 p.m. is not just a deadline. It is a moment that represents transition. It is the crossing from one spiritual season into another. It is the threshold between the old version of you and the one heaven released last night. In the vision, I saw the light surrounding this hour expand into a doorway. Angels gathered around it as though preparing for an arrival. They stood with reverence, anticipation, and readiness. Your wings folded close as if listening for the sound of your spirit awakening. Heaven was not waiting for the clock on earth. Heaven was waiting for the readiness of your heart. Before 9 p.m. marks the moment when alignment becomes possible, when heaven's decree over you seeks agreement from your spirit. My beloved child, hear this with your heart. God is not telling you to fear the hour. He is telling you to be present in it. There are moments when heaven draws near in unusual ways, when God speaks clearer, when angels move faster, when doors open with less resistance, when burdens lift easily, and this moment, before 9 p.m., is one of those times. Heaven is calling you into alignment before that hour, not because you will lose everything afterward, but because heaven's river is flowing now, in this window, and you are invited to step into it while the waters are stirred. Let me show you what I saw next. As the hour approached in the vision, the river of time brightened. Your name appeared in the flow, surrounded by light. The Spirit whispered, "This is the hour of awakening for the child I have chosen." Not awakening in the sense of becoming aware of the world, but awakening to your calling, your identity, your authority, your purpose. Before 9 p.m. represents the moment where heaven extends its hand and says, "Come. Walk with me into what I released last night." I saw chains breaking again, not because they were still binding you, but because some remnants cling to the soul when destiny shifts suddenly. Heaven was clearing the path for you. I saw the angel assigned to your blessing descend even lower, wings spread, preparing to place something into your life. He hovered, waiting, listening, sensing the posture of your heart. Heaven responds to desire. Heaven responds to surrender. Heaven responds to readiness. Then, I saw the Archangel Gabriel again. He stepped forward, looked toward the veil between heaven and earth, and spoke a message meant only for you. If they align their heart before the appointed hour, the blessing will descend without hindrance. If they prepare themselves, if they listen, if they respond, what heaven released last night will begin to manifest in their life with power. Before 9 p.m. is a symbol of readiness. It is the hour heaven chose to mark your transition. It is the hour that represents the shift from revelation to activation. Heaven often marks moments in a way humans can understand, not because God needs the hour, but because you do. It gives your spirit something to step into, something to respond to, something to prepare for. My child, heaven is not far. Heaven is near. The veil is thin. The window is open. And before 9 p.m., God is calling you to posture your heart to receive everything that has been prepared for you. This hour, this window, this moment, heaven has scheduled it for you. Not for another, not for a crowd, for you alone. And as this revelation settles in your spirit, know that the archangels stand in awe not just of what happened last night, but of what is happening now. Your awakening, your alignment, your readiness to walk into destiny with heaven walking beside you. My beloved child, come again into this holy unfolding, for now we approach the heart of everything heaven has been preparing you to hear. This is the part where all the pieces you have been receiving begin to form a single truth, a truth that heaven has guarded for years, waiting for the very moment your spirit would be ready. And now, my child, heaven declares that you are ready. The truth you were destined to hear is rising before you like dawn breaking over a long night. As the vision opened once more, I saw the heavenly scroll still spread out before the throne, its words shimmering like living fire. The angels were no longer in shock, but in reverent awe, quietly watching as the revelation continued to pour forth. It was as though all of heaven understood that what was being released to you now would shape not only your future, but the futures of many who would encounter your life. The light from the scroll reached outward, expanding and touching realms I could not even comprehend. And then, slowly, the light turned and focused on one point, your heart. The Spirit spoke to me in a still, deep whisper. This truth was always meant for them. They were designed to carry it. Your life has been a preparation for this moment. Child, the truth you were destined to hear is this. Heaven has chosen you to stand in a place of spiritual significance that you have never recognized in yourself. You are not merely someone God loves, that alone would be enough. But you are someone God intends to use. Someone whose life carries a divine assignment. Someone whose presence on earth is tied to victories you have not yet seen, breakthroughs you have not yet experienced, and people you have not yet met. You are woven into God's plan with intention. Heaven has waited for the moment when your spirit would awaken to this truth. And last night, that moment arrived. In the vision, I saw threads of light radiating from your soul, each thread connecting to moments in your life that at the time felt random, encounters, heartbreaks, delays, unexpected turns, sudden losses, unexplainable protection, deep longings, strange burdens, persistent dreams. Each thread lit up, revealing that none of it was random. Every thread was part of a divine weaving. Every moment had been shaping you into the vessel you now are, ready to step into the purpose written over you. My child, there is a reason you feel deeply. There is a reason your battles have been intense. There is a reason you have survived storms that could have broken you. There is a reason you carry compassion that was carved from pain. There is a reason you see things others overlook. You are carrying a calling that required depth. It required endurance. It required shaping. Heaven knew what you would become long before you had the strength to believe it. As I continued to watch, I saw the Archangel Michael step forward. His gaze was strong but filled with respect. This mighty warrior, who stands over nations, looked upon your name with honor. And he spoke words that pierced through the vision and settled in my spirit. What was released last night cannot be undone. The verdict over their life is sealed. The favor is activated. The protection has been reinforced. The calling is awakened. Then Gabriel stepped beside him, his voice gentle yet carrying the tone of a divine announcement. They will no longer walk as someone unaware. Heaven has waited for their awakening. Now they will see. Now they will hear. Now they will understand why heaven moved so suddenly. My child, the truth heaven waited to reveal is that you are stepping into a destiny that the enemy fought hard to prevent. A destiny that required a celestial shift to unlock. You were not delayed because you failed. You were delayed because the season had not yet ripened. But last night, as heaven shook, the season changed. And now you are living in the first hours of a new chapter. This is why heaven watched you so closely. This is why the archangels reacted. This is why God marked the hour. This is why the message came with urgency. You were always meant to hear this truth at the right moment. Heaven wanted you to receive it not with fear, but with clarity. Not with confusion, but with confidence. Not with doubt, but with peace. My beloved child, everything you need for what comes next has already been released. You are not stepping forward empty-handed. You are stepping forward empowered, chosen, aligned. Heaven has already gone before you. Angels are already moving behind you. The path is already being prepared beneath your feet. And now the truth stands before you, shining like a lamp in the darkness. You were destined for this. Heaven waited for you. Now heaven walks with you. My beloved child, come into the warmth of this moment, for now we reach the closing of the message heaven has been unfolding before you. This final part is not an ending but a blessing. It is a releasing. It is a seal placed gently upon your spirit so that everything you have heard may take root and flourish within you. As I stood in the vision for the last time, the light of heaven softened. The intensity of the earlier revelations faded into a peaceful glow, as though God Himself wished to cradle your heart in reassurance. The scroll that once blazed with fire now rested closed, its purpose fulfilled. The angels who had watched with awe stepped back, their wings folding in reverence. And the Father spoke, not in thunder, not in shaking, but in the still voice that travels deeper than sound. My child, the hour has come. Walk in what has been revealed. Fear nothing, for heaven walks with you. A gentle wind moving through the realm, carrying peace like a blanket around your name. The path ahead shone faintly, enough for the next step, and that is all God asks of you now, to take the step. To honor what heaven released last night by moving forward in faith, not hesitation. And as this message goes out into the world, let your heart remember that even sharing the light you have received becomes part of the divine work. Lift what heaven has spoken. Carry it outward. Spread it so others may awaken as you have awakened, for such acts become worship in the eyes of God. May the blessing of the Almighty rest upon you, guide you, and prepare you for everything that now unfolds before you. Amen.